My name is Monica Dorr, and my husband is Dennis, and we've been participating or attending the live stream worship services since March, since they began. Dennis and I started coming to Emmanuel in March of 1995. We were engaged to be married later that year, and so we decided to do a little church shopping. I had been wanting to find a church home anyway because I was a Roman Catholic, born and raised in Northwest Detroit. In fact, my namesake, St. Monica Church, was what I was named for. My church experience, though, was one of just showing up for worship on a Sunday and then going home, and that was it. That was our church. We did a little church shopping, or our plan was to do that, and we started here at Emmanuel because Dennis had a little bit of a history here as a youth. And then the plan was to go and maybe check out some Catholic churches in Ypsi, Ann Arbor, what have you. We started here, we came to an 8:15 service. My expectation was that it was going to be an experience like what I knew growing up, which was you just come in and go through the worship and leave. Well, we came in and it was not an anonymous experience like I expected. We were immediately greeted, warmly greeted, embraced, and completely enfolded into the life of Emmanuel from the very beginning. So much so that we didn't even make it to any other churches to do any shopping. So we started here with an 8:15 service in March of 1995, and we're married here in October of 95, which, if you're doing the math, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary. Yay! We got pulled into life here, into participation into life here so quickly, and it just felt so natural to us. So we just kind of followed that path. By doing so, we interacted with so many people, more than we ever expected to, and in so many different ways, and just on a deeper level, again, than I ever expected based on my past church experience. So to us, you know, church is more than just showing up to worship on Sunday. Church has become a much larger, deeper, more meaningful experience for us. And it's truly a part of our lives. It's not just a Sunday activity and then we're done with it. In fact, living in Plymouth makes it a little difficult sometimes because there are so many things that we would like to, involve ourselves in that sometimes makes it challenging when you live a little bit farther away. So while we don't actually technically live in this community, we still feel very much a part of this community. And really it just kind of expands our community because we have community in Plymouth, we have community here, we have community everywhere we work and play and interact and do activities, our families, our friends, like I said, our workplaces, and in the world at large. And so our Emmanuel faith experience has become so much larger than we ever anticipated. What that means to us is that Emmanuel is family to us. You know, we've had so many, like I said, deeper, more meaningful relationships than we've ever expected. And it's all about relationships and community. And there's all kinds of different community. We have community here in worship, but we have community within the greater community at large in Ypsilanti. Like I said, where we interact daily in our families and in our own neighborhoods and such. But one of the big things that really has come to light for us as a couple and as individuals is that the concept of serving. We know that we're called to serve, and there's so much need and opportunity that has come to light by being a member of this community of faith at Emmanuel. that it's endless as far as ways and places that we can plug ourselves into to live out that calling of serving others. And that idea of being a servant, it plays out so strongly for me every Maundy Thursday when we play that or sing that hymn. How do the words go? I have it written down. Will you let me be your servant? Let me be like Christ to you. Pray that I might have the grace to let you be my servant too. That hymn, to me and to us as a couple, they're so foundational to us. And they bring the practice of living out our Christian faith down to the most basic level. And that's why it's so meaningful and moving to me every Maundy Thursday when we do the foot washing and our hand washing and other things, healing stations that just bring that right to the forefront. When I have conversations with friends of mine and family members, always church comes up, and people know that it's a very big part of my life and Dennis's life. And I have one friend who has often lamented to me the fact that she doesn't feel those kinds of relationships and sense of community in her own church. She's a regular church attendee, and yet she feels like her experience is a bit hollow. And so when I talk about my church experience, she kind of quizzes me about it and asks me, how do you get to that? And I just suggest to her that she try to participate more, get active with other people there. You'll find a commonality in so many ways that you may not get to know on a surface level unless you delve deeper. And so my encouragement to her is to just seek out activities and ways that you can participate in the life of the congregation beyond just showing up and sitting in a pew at worship. I just try to share with her that how we have gotten to that point. It's not that we're better people or more faithful or more holy or more spiritual or anything. It's about giving yourself into the experience and to other people. It's about opening your heart and just letting God lead you where He will, and letting that happen. But Dennis and I have been participating in many different types of activities at Emmanuel throughout the years. From serving in worship, both assisting with readings and such, and also I've been playing with the handbell choir for a few years now. We help around the facility, in the building, and the property, helping outside in the spring for the cleanups, and beyond that, we help with social ministries. Dennis is currently helping 3 days a week with food pantry tasks, and that's becoming more and more needed, sadly, right now. We gather with others for fellowship and coffee hours and discussion groups and studies, Bible studies, the ladies' Bible study group that I've been involved with for a number of years. Certainly during this pandemic time, it's been especially challenging trying to maintain some of these connections that we all have with each other through Emmanuel. But because of the strong bonds that we have forged over the years, and hopefully will continue to forge, we find other ways. We get creative. We call or email or do Zoom chats, and certainly the live stream worship services have been a godsend for us to have that touch point with each other. So we're grateful to Pastor Alex and David and Jamie and Caleb and Valerie for all their efforts and putting all of that together and making it as meaningful as it can be without us being together. And so my hope for the future is just that, at some point here, whenever that may be, we'll be able to get back together in person and to embrace each other physically and spiritually. But we continue to embrace each other spiritually now. That doesn't change. In fact, we have to put more effort into that. And I think having these relationships right now has been especially helpful for a lot of us, just to be able to have that commonality with folks. And we're all coming from a similar place. And so these relationships go beyond just the walls of this church. And it's more than just a physical, gathering together type of a bond. It goes well beyond that.